In the jungles of Zarian 4, silence was death. Every creature knew that when the Ricari stalked, the only outcome was blood. They were legends across 3 star systems, 6 meters of muscle, claw, and perfect stealth. But tonight something was different. Their prey wasn't running, she wasn't even afraid. Instead, the human woman sealed another sample vial, her voice calm as glass. "I'll give you 3 more steps before I turn around." Imagine saying that to a predator that had never lost a hunt. If that moment already has your heart racing, you're in the right place. This is one of those humans or special stories where instinct collides with intelligence, and the outcome will flip everything you think you know about predators. If you enjoy these cinematic HFY stories, hit like, tap subscribe, and share this with a friend who loves a good twist in sci-fi. Now let's dive straight into the hunt. The jungle of Zarian 4 glowed like a dream and threatened like a nightmare. Bioluminescent vines pulsed with faint green light, their tendrils curling as if alive. Strange insects shimmered like fragments of stars scattered across the undergrowth. It was the kind of place that swallowed sound, where even the faintest rustle meant something was hunting, or being hunted. Dr. Maya Patel bent low over a crystalline formation, her gloved hands steady as she chipped a mineral shard into a containment tube. Every movement was precise, clinical, like she had all the time in the galaxy. But she knew she wasn't alone. Behind her, something vast moved with impossible grace. For 20 minutes, the Ricari predator had stalked her. Its 6-meter frame blended with the shadows, claws pressing down without a whisper. The Ricari were legends, apex hunters perfected by evolution on a world so hostile that even plants had teeth. Their kind had earned reputation across 3 star systems. To be stalked by one was to be sentenced. No creature had ever detected its approach, not once in centuries of recorded hunts. And yet, Maya wasn't trembling. No racing heart, no frantic breaths, no glance over the shoulder. Her stillness was maddening. To the predator, prey was supposed to panic. Fear was supposed to betray them, but this human kept calmly cataloging samples, as though the monster behind her was just another part of the landscape. Finally, without looking up, she spoke. "I know you're there," she said casually, sealing another vial. "Ricari, judging by your weight distribution, you've been holding exactly 15 meters of distance for the past 18 minutes. The predator froze. Confusion prickled through instincts honed over centuries. Never had prey spoken to him like this. How could she know his distance, his breathing, his silent steps? His kind had perfected stealth so deeply that even advanced sensors often failed to pick them up. And yet here was this small human breaking the one rule of the hunt. No prey could ever see him coming. Maya's voice remained calm, clinical. "Your breathing pattern suggests you're preparing for a pounce," she continued. "Standard Ricari behavior. You'll wait until I show weakness, then strike the neck with retractable claws, right?" The Ricari's muscles tensed, instincts screaming to leap to silence her. But something in her tone, a lack of fear, a lack of anything resembling prey, unsettled him more than any weapon. Maya straightened, finally lifting her head. She didn't turn all the way, just enough that her voice carried sharper in the night air. "I'll give you 3 more steps," she said softly. "Then I turn around. After that, this stops being a hunt." The words weren't a plea. They weren't a bluff. They sounded more like a scientist stating the end of an experiment. The Ricari's pride bristled. Apex predators did not take orders from prey, and yet his instincts faltered. Something about her voice cut deeper than claws. Still, the challenge was irresistible. He shifted forward, 1 silent step. 1. Maya counted aloud. The second step brought him closer, muscles coiled like spring steel. 2. By the third step, his claws twitched with the urge to strike. His entire body screamed for blood, for the kill, for the primal rhythm of the hunt that had defined his species since time immemorial. But just as instinct reached its peak, Maya turned. Her eyes met his. No fear, no trembling, no surrender, only a detached, almost clinical curiosity, as if she were the one observing him. The Ricari froze mid-motion, claws suspended in the air. He knew that look. It was the same expression he had seen in scientists across the galaxy when they studied predators behind containment fields. Except this time the scientist wasn't behind glass. Fascinating, Maya murmured, pulling a small device from her pack. Textbook Ricari stalking behavior, distance maintenance, breathing regulation, right down to the final step. You're a perfect specimen. The predator growled, translator shaping the word into something almost human. Specimen? Maya smiled faintly, and somehow that smile was more dangerous than a weapon. Oh yes, she replied, because this isn't just a mineral survey. We're studying predator-prey dynamics, and right now you're the subject. The Ricari's pride wavered, instincts colliding with doubt. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sure who was hunting whom. And somewhere in the shadows of the jungle he thought he heard movement. Shapes he had missed, concealed even from his senses. Something told him this hunt was not what he thought it was. The jungle stirred. For the first time, the Ricari predator felt something he had never tasted in all his hunts. Unease. His instincts screamed that the balance had shifted, though he couldn't yet see how. Around him, faint shapes began to move. Shadows peeling away from vines, forms rising where no scent, no heartbeat, no breath had registered before. Humans, dozens of them. They had been there the whole time, hidden even from his hyper-keen senses. Dr. the Ricari's heart thudded. Impossible. Maya spoke into her communicator, her tone maddeningly calm. Patel to base camp. The Ricari has taken the bait, initiating phase 2 of the behavioral study. Bait. The word burned like acid through the predator's pride. He turned, scanning the encircling figures. Humans in adaptive suits, their eyes gleaming with purpose, not panic, not prey. They moved with synchronized precision, sealing off routes of escape with the ease of hunters who had rehearsed every step. This is wrong, the Ricari growled, voice twisting through the translator. My kind cannot be hunted. We are the apex. Maya met his eyes, her voice steady as bedrock. On your world? Yes. Against your prey species? Yes. But you've never faced a predator that studies instinct the way we do. Her smile widened. You've never met a species that turned survival into science. Behind her, another researcher, a young man with sharp eyes and steady hands, dragged a containment field generator into place. Energy hummed in the air, arcs of light snapping across alien leaves. Neural patterns are aligning with predictions, called Dr. Kim, her gaze locked on a data pad. Confusion overriding aggression, just as modeled. The Ricari's tail lashed. He had never known fear. But this creeping uncertainty, this gnawing loss of control, it was worse. Every instinct screamed to strike, to tear, to run. Yet every escape route was sealed. Every attempt at dominance was smothered by cold, clinical eyes studying him as though he were no more than a curious insect. Maya stepped closer. The thing about humans, she said softly, is that we're not really prey. We don't run. We endure. We observe. And then, we turn the tables. Her voice carried like a verdict. We're persistence hunters. We outlast predators, and eventually, every hunter becomes our subject. The containment field flared to life. Energy cascaded around the Ricari's body, locking down his physiology with terrifying precision. He roared, claws sparking against invisible walls, but the field flexed exactly where his species' biology was weakest. It was no accident. This wasn't improvisation. It was premeditated, engineered, perfected. What do you want from me? He demanded, chest heaving. Maya tilted her head as though the answer were obvious. Knowledge. You're going to help us write the definitive study on Ricari hunting behavior. Think of it as contributing to galactic science. Panic, real panic, began to claw its way into his chest. His kind had always been the nightmare, the monster lurking in silence, the legend whispered in fear. But now, for the first time, he saw himself through different eyes, not as a terror, but as data. The hunter wasn't feared. He was catalogued. Maya scribbled a note onto her tablet, her calmness sharper than any weapon. Subject displays resistance to containment. Neural patterns highly reactive to loss of control. Response consistent with apex predator displacement syndrome. She looked up. Fascinating. Around him, the humans closed in, setting sensors, adjusting instruments, speaking in tones of professional detachment. They weren't here to survive him. They were here to study him. And then it struck. The true horror. This had never been a hunt. It had been an experiment from the first moment he saw her. Maya's final words were almost gentle. Welcome to human methodology, where curiosity is a weapon sharper than any claw, where every apex predator eventually becomes data. The Ricari roared one last time, his voice echoing through the bioluminescent jungle. But the sound rang hollow, swallowed by the containment field, recorded by human instruments, archived into research logs. The jungle had shifted. The hunter had been hunted. And humanity, the so-called fragile newcomers of the galaxy, had proven once again why legends whisper their name. Because humans don't just survive, they study, they adapt, and in the end,